Hey, welcome! You are here with Change Models 101. I'm Nicola Graham for Be Change Limited, and I thought I would like to give you the lowdown on my top 10 chosen change models throughout the last century. I would like to explain to you the history of these, how and why they were created. I'd like to give you the explanation of each model in hopefully a simple way. While we're at it, why not go for the pros and cons for each one? There's no harm in that. And how about a case study just for you so that you can understand if these are useful for you in your projects today. We're giving this content for free, guys. You go ahead, click and subscribe to our channel for more useful information. Let's get going. Hi, welcome back to Change Model 101. I am Nicola Graham from Be Change Limited. Today we're going to be discussing Prosci ADKAR. This is a change management tool, and it is essentially a guide for both individuals and organisations to help them align the processes of change. It was actually developed in 1998 by a man known as Jeff Hyatt. I think I said his name right. He was the founder of a company called Prosci, and he actually developed this particular change model because he studied the dependencies that people went through when it came to change. And he recognized that actually everyone has an individual change process that they go through, and therefore he wanted to create a framework that people could follow to really support them on the way. So let's look into that model, shall we? The good news is I don't have to fast forward this one for you. Let's talk about Prosci ADKAR. The challenge that I always find in my industry is everyone talks about Prosci ADKAR, but they don't actually talk around the methodology itself. This is not a methodology, it's a change model. So you have to be very careful when using it that you don't assume that this means everything change. The concept of the model is that it helps people get from a current state to a future state. And by working through this acronym, you can support them along the way. It gives you the ability to ensure that your colleagues have awareness. And this is something that tends to happen pre-go live, hopefully. By giving them awareness, you're essentially telling them about the change that's come into them. The next one is around desire. It's around creating a need, a benefit to them. Essentially, for an individual to go through the change process and accept the change that's happening to them, they're going to want it. They're going to need to want it. You're going to have to create a desire. The next is knowledge. So for an individual to be able to go through a change process, they need the knowledge to help them through. You need to ensure that you've got that set in your way. The next is ability. Ability is around ensuring that they have the right parameters for training in place. You need to ensure that they are able to understand or use the change that's happening to them. And reinforcement is repetition. It's essentially ensuring that any individual going through change gets reinforced about that change so that they naturally begin to lead the way. That is Prosci ADKAR. And at this stage, I think it's good to talk about pros and cons. So let's talk about the strengths and the weaknesses of Prosci ADKAR. So some of the pros is that it's really simple and clear. It gives you a step-by-step, easy to follow acronym that works for you. It's also very actionable. It means that you can have specific actions that managers can follow that can target strategies for the change process that people are going through. And it's also really great at focusing at the individual. It means that it's ensuring that there's always a prerequisite for an individual going through a change to be included and involved in that. Some say that it's oversimplified. It doesn't really hone in much more than how you can support a colleague. Essentially, it can be the best way to communicate to them, I guess. Another one is that it's very linear. It's really hard to backtrack. You're essentially going in one direction and you can't really backtrack and swap and change the process. And it also is really management reliant. Heavily reliant on management, which basically means that you are actually leaning on the management teams to help with this process and ensure that it actually is implemented by them. Now, let's move on to a case study just for you. I got my colours. Now, let's talk about a great example of when you would use ADKAR. And something I want to emphasise at this stage, if that's your project life cycle from the start to the end, ADKAR is part of that. It is not everything of that change. There's more to do than just ADKAR. However, we have a case here where the current, also referred to the as is, will go through a change maybe I put that in blue, and end up as a future state, a 2B. So in this scenario, we're going to talk about an organisation that's going to roll out a new piece of software. And I'm not going to get into the technicalities of which kind of software, but they are essentially going to be doing or releasing or implementing new software. And currently, why am I not going colour coordination? Yeah. And currently, the current as is of that new software is done on paper. I mean, I don't know how many people do things on paper nowadays, but let's just pretend for a moment. They're doing something on paper, they will go through a change, and then they will have a new piece of software at the end. This transition is going to be massive for the people that are going through that change. Therefore, you need to support them. And one of the ways that you can support them is to use the really good example of ADKAR. So in this scenario, we mentioned before, you create the awareness. You create the awareness of what's going on to them. It's called communication. It's called engagement. Essentially, you're going to be telling them as individuals what this new software is and making them aware of it. But how you do that is based on the individual. So somebody in one part of the organisation will need a different kind of awareness to the other one. It's up to you to define that as part of your ADKAR model. The next one is to create the desire. The what's in it for me? Why do I want to do this? Why do I want to have this new software? Why would I want to move from paper to a new software? Creating that desire for the individual. Remember that individuals here, we're not doing anything but the individual. By creating that desire, they will start to feel the support that they need along the way. Then you flood them with knowledge about the new software coming. In this example, and I'm forgetting the examples. Hi Susan, just to let you know that soon there will be a release to a project where you will go from paper to software, but don't worry about it, we'll tell you more about it in time to come. Desire. Hello Susan, do you know that this new software is going to save you X amount of time a day and it's going to give you X benefits? You're creating that desire. If you want to know more, we're actually offering some presentations around it where we will provide you even more information about this new software that's happening to you. The next one is ability. Hello Susan, would you like to come to our training where we can show you how you can use that new software? And then the final one, reinforcement, if I can spell. And the reinforcement part of that is ensuring that the software is praised. People like Susan? What's she called, Susan? Yeah, people like Susan are basically receiving more and more information, more and more updates about this really great, cool new software that replaces the paper for them. By supporting Susan with the ADKAR approach, you will have a happy Susan that is more willing to let go of this to get to that. So if you can think of a scenario where somebody is going to go through an individual change based on their roles, maybe ADKAR's for you. Don't forget, keep on subscribing and follow me for more Change Model 101s. And that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's content. Don't forget, guys, click and subscribe for more content coming your way very soon. And whilst you're at it, how about something free of charge? Yeah, that's right. I said free of charge. Sign up now, www.bechange.co.uk, where we are giving you a free change management course. That's right, the Build, Excite, Equip Foundation course, where we will educate you within 2 hours exactly why change management is crucial to project teams, but also how project teams can do this role within their existing activities. That's right, you truly can take people on that journey with you in your projects, and you can improve your project success. I promise you improved return on investment. Check it out today. Bye-bye.